So let's just think about this for a second. What happens when the one place you're supposed to find fairness, a court of law, becomes the very place that denies you your rights? Today, we're looking at a case where the system designed to protect people is accused of doing the exact opposite, all because it allegedly refused to listen.
It all boils down to two words: head faker. I mean, just let that sink in. This wasn't something whispered in a hallway. This was a derogatory term used in open court to mock a 76-year-old man who was simply having trouble hearing. It's a shocking moment, for sure, but it's also a window into a much deeper, more troubling story.
So who is the man at the center of this? His name is Mark Saltz, and he's not just a name on a court document. He's a retired educator, a fine artist who is building a new chapter in his life from his home studio. He was a person with a life, a career, and a home, and he found himself in court fighting to keep all of it.
Now, Mr. Saltz's journey through the legal system wasn't some quick in-and-out affair. No, this was a 3-year ordeal. It's a story that starts with a fight for his home, but quickly becomes a fight for something even more fundamental: his right to even participate in his own defense. From the very beginning, Mr. Saltz and his lawyer were clear with the court about his hearing difficulties. And they weren't asking for the moon here. They just repeatedly requested standard, legally required accommodations so he could actually follow what was going on. This wasn't a one-time slip-up by the court. It was a consistent 3-year pattern of saying no.
And that consistent denial, well, that gets us right to the heart of the legal issue here. We're talking about a systematic failure to provide access to justice, a right that is supposed to be guaranteed for every single person, no matter their ability.
And the law on this is crystal clear. We're talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. This isn't a suggestion, it is the law. It requires public places, and that absolutely includes courts, to provide aids to make sure people with disabilities can communicate effectively. You know, things like real-time captioning on a screen or special listening devices. It's about creating a level playing field, not giving someone a special advantage.
And this is where the gap between what's required and what happened just becomes staggering. On one side, you have the law, requiring things like real-time captioning. And on the other side, the court's solution was to have a judge just step a little closer or speak a little louder. Not only did that completely fail to meet the legal standard, but can you imagine how humiliating that is?
You can just see how things spiraled downward over time. It starts in 2021 with requests that are just ignored. By 2022, it's a clear pattern, and Mr. Saltz literally can't follow his own case. Then in 2023, the hostility becomes overt, with that head faker comment, and the court does nothing. And it all leads to this devastating climax in January 2024. While he's in the hospital with a life-threatening infection, he's evicted from his home.
And it was just this perfect storm of injustice. First, there was the lie. Opposing counsel told the court he was in drug rehab. Then, the technicality. When his lawyers submitted hospital records to prove that was false, the court tossed them out, saying they were 2 days late, filed while he was medically out of it. He gets out of the hospital, he's locked out of his own building. And then he's pressured into signing an agreement he can't fully hear or understand, all with the threat of immediate eviction hanging over him.
So this wasn't just a legal failing. The real-world impact was absolutely devastating. And you can actually start to put a number on the harm that was done. The figures are just staggering.
Let's start with the hard economic damage. This is a baseline estimate, $175,000. That's the direct loss of his home, which was also his art studio, plus the cost of trying to find a place to live and medical bills that just piled up from the stress of it all.
But you know, the deepest wounds often don't come with a price tag. This number, $300,000, is the minimum estimate for what's called non-economic damages. We're talking about the pain, the suffering, the trauma of becoming homeless at 76 and the incredible public humiliation he went through.
And finally, we get to punitive damages. This is a big one. This $500,000 figure isn't just about compensating Mr. Saltz, it's about punishing the system for its alleged actions and, just as importantly, deterring anyone from ever letting this happen again. The claim is that a 3-year pattern of denial isn't a mistake, it's deliberate indifference.
So when you put it all together, you're looking at total estimated damages somewhere between nearly $1 million and over $1.7 million. This table really just lays out the full financial scope of the harm and shows you how seriously these civil rights violations are being taken.
But this story doesn't just end with the injustice. It pivots to the fight for accountability. In response to everything that happened, a massive legal strategy was put into motion to challenge the system from every possible angle.
And the strategy here isn't just to knock on one door. It's to knock on every single door at once.
We're talking a federal civil rights lawsuit, a complaint with the city's Human Rights Commission, a formal complaint about the judge's conduct, and a malpractice action. It's a full court press designed to demand accountability from top to bottom.
And this is so important because the goal isn't just money. It's about forcing real, lasting change. The lawsuit is demanding mandatory ADA training for everyone in the court system, modern accessibility tech in every single courtroom, an independent watchdog to handle these issues, and public reports so they can't hide the problem anymore. This is about making sure no one else ever has to go through this.
At the end of the day, this whole entire fight really just boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. The Supreme Court has said it time and time again. Access to the courts is a fundamental right. It's not a privilege you're granted. And when that access is denied because someone has a disability, the whole system of justice starts to crumble.
And so that leaves all of us with a really critical question to think about. This case forces us to look at our own justice system and ask, is it truly delivering on its promise of justice for all? How do we build a system where every single voice can be fully and fairly heard, ensuring that justice is never, ever deaf?